Hello, everyone. My name is Sakshi, and I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you in the first session of Inspire to Aspire webinar series. On India's largest learning platform for kids, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to have Mr. Abhinav Bindra. I still remember the day Abhinav Bindra was on the podium receiving the first Olympic gold medal. We were thrilled, we were excited, and we all had goosebumps. That day was a landmark in the history of India. 1.3 billion people in our country started believing that yes, it's possible. You'll be amazed to know that Olympic got him fame, but he has actually received 150 medals in his 22-year career span. He's the recipient of Padma Bhushan, one of the most prestigious awards in India. He is also one of the top influencers of sports policy in the country. The list of his achievements is just endless. He is the one who made us believe that if you dare to dream, you can achieve it. Sir, it's a great pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Just like our audience now, even I'm very excited to ask you a lot of questions. So, before asking about anything else, let's go down the memory lane and talk about your childhood. I'm sure our young audience would like to know about that. How was your schooling, your family, some of your memories? Please share with us something about your childhood.
Well, I had a very normal childhood. I went to a day school initially, then moved to a boarding school. I wasn't very happy in boarding school, but during the course of my time there, I used to receive a letter from my dad almost every day, which said that I should play sport. At that particular point of time, as a child growing up, I wasn't particularly fond of sport. I was a rather fat kid or overweight kid whose only talent, in fact, lay in how to give physical education classes at school. And one fine day, I was introduced to the sport of shooting, and I really fell in love with it because it fit me, it fit my mindset, it fit my personality. And of course, to be successful in it, I didn't have to run around too much. So that was the reason why I took it up. Of course, to be successful in it, I had to also become fit and do all kinds of things to become good at it. But the childhood was a very normal childhood. Lots of good memories that I have with my parents, and of course, it was a regimented sort of a childhood because I got into sport quite early on, which meant that I had a very good routine from very early on in life, and that is something which is particularly important to me even to this current day. Is the need for having a routine, and that has really helped me in many ways in life. And also even during this pandemic period, I believe it was something that really helped me. I know that a lot of people were struggling, locked in, and things like that. But for me, it was all quite okay because my childhood taught me the need to have a routine, and that is what something which is with me even today.
So that's very important that, earlier age you started to have a routine, and that too, it's all because of sports. But what you shared about, joining shooting, that is very interesting. So we will talk a little more about that. But because we're talking about childhood, so we have a young learner, from our Uolo platform. She wants to ask you a question. So let's play that and let's listen what she wants to know.
Hello, my name is Ananya. I study in grade 5. We all have some memorable moment of our childhood. Please, you also share your most memorable moment with us.
Well, I think there are many memories of my childhood, but you know what? When I look back at my sports career, I think as a child, my greatest memory was that I was able to spend a lot of time with my parents through sport. When I started off sport, my fascination towards shooting was when my father, we used to live on a farm, and he owned some guns of his own, and every second week on a Sunday he would take out his guns and clean them. and I would bond with my father, watching him very carefully clean all his guns and be, treat those pieces of equipment very well. But that was the bonding that I had with my father as a young child, and that I always hold true to me and remember it fondly. As a very young child, I also left for Germany. As a 12-year-old kid, we packed our bags, and my mother and I left for Germany, where I went to train. And I was staying in a very small sports hotel, and we were lonely. There were not too many people that spoke English at that time. Communication was a big barrier. But it was also those memories which I had where, my mother also became my friend, where I was able to build an incredible relationship with her as well. So my favorite childhood memories are really the incredible moments that I got to spend with my parents and imbibe the values through them, that on how to live life, on the need to work hard, because I always saw my parents really work hard, never give up. They had challenges in life, but never gave up, always tried to remain positive. And the moments that I spent with them, I was also able to learn many things. Those are really my favorite childhood.
So, the kind of influence parents have on our childhood is something like, unforgettable. And I'm sure that was the most, memorable thing, the kind of bonding that you made. So, it's always there with us. So I would go back to that point when you said that you used to go to the farm and, your father also had guns. So did that get you into shooting?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure it certainly had an influence on me as a young kid, because I was fascinated as a young 7 or 8-year-old boy when my father used to, clean his guns and things like that. Of course, I had no idea about sport shooting at that point of time. But you're absolutely right. It fascinated me towards it. There was a curiosity which it got me, and I got interested perhaps in shooting, and that interest and that deep curiosity from deep within came in at that time.
So what actually got you there? So that was the fascination, but that was something very unconventional at that point of time when you took up shooting.
Yes. So after a while, when I got out of boarding school and was looking when I was in a day school in Chandigarh for a pastime, and I was invited to, not invited, taken to my first coach, because I was looking for a pastime, I was looking for a hobby. That's when, for the first time, I actually experienced the sport of shooting on my first shooting session. That too happened because a family friend once, as a kid, I also had an air gun, which I used to break bottles in my backyard, and I thought I had a pretty good aim, or at least my parents thought I had a pretty good aim, and they were really wanting me to pick a sport up. And that's how I got introduced to my first coach, and I fell in love with the sport very early on.
That's interesting. So, like I had mentioned previously, also that you have won 150 medals. So, which is that achievement that you cherish the most? Of course, other than Olympics. So, what do you remember? What is the most that moment?
Yes. Yes. To be very honest, I don't look back into my career at all the medals that I have won. Now that I have retired from sport and exited my investment of sport, and can look back in my years in sport much more dispassionately. I look back at the years in sport, at the relationships that I was able to build. Starting out with my parents, what I talked about, the relationships I was able to build with my coaches, for example, some of whom I got along with, some of them who I didn't get along with, but continue to work with. The relationships I was able, and friendships I was able to forge with my larger support team, or even with competitors, on how I was able to build relationships with them. So I look back at my career at these important things, and I also look back at my career with fondest memories at what it taught me. Medals are great and they were fantastic outcomes, but sport taught me how to win. But more importantly, sport also taught me how to lose, how to fail well, because in sport you fail a lot of times. And in life as well, there will be many times you would encounter failure. but sport teaches you the art of failing well. To fail, you have to learn to let go of the unwanted baggage failure brings, the disappointment that failure brings. You have to learn to forget about it, and you have to learn from the experience of failure. When failure comes as tremendous, it also opens up scope for learning. So that's what sport did for me. Sport taught me how to have a goal. It taught me how to achieve that goal. Sport also taught me honesty. It taught me integrity. It taught me how to be resilient. It taught me how to be determined. So really, these are my fondest memories of sport. These are the most important things sport taught me. The medals are, of course, wonderful outcomes and very important outcomes, which I chased, important goals that I set out for myself, achieved some of them. But on the larger picture, there's more to life than sport. And these are the things through sport that I learned and imbibed, which will stay with me for the rest of my life.
I think these are very profound words that you just said, because we never think about sports like that. So generally, we have a very shallow understanding of sports. It's mostly about winning or losing, and not going beyond that. It's about competition. It's about getting a trophy. So the values that come along with it, we rarely talk about that. So it's wonderful to get to hear from you that these are the memories that you're carrying forward. So, but still, we would like to talk about one memory. The feeling when you were there on the podium, when you actually won that gold medal, because it still gives us goosebumps. We were watching that on screen at that time. When you saw that Indian flag raising high, so when you heard that national anthem, so what was going on in your mind at that time? What were the feelings?
Well, of course, it was the thrill of my life. That is what my dream of my life was. So there was, I think, the biggest emotion that I felt was of relief, because I had invested so much time, I had invested so much energy, I had invested so many resources in my pursuit that I had a lot riding on it. And I was just very happy and very thrilled, and had a great sense of relief that what I had set out to do, I actually went and achieved it. So those were the emotions that I felt. Of course, it was a great amount of happiness and a thrill and a big high, which I don't think any words can describe. The feeling that you have when you stand on top of an Olympic podium and the whole world listens to your national anthem, it is a wonderful thing. And it is something I cannot even try and describe in words, because I will fall so woefully short in describe that experience. It's just incredible.
You're right. It actually cannot be described. Maybe that feeling is like it's ineffable. So now, because we're talking about Olympics, so we have two more questions from our learners if they want to ask you something. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Ritika Sablok and I'm from grade 10. Greetings to you, sir. Before I begin, I would like to appreciate you for all that you've achieved in your life so far. Only a few people are able to do so, and I highly respect you for that. Now, my question to you is, you first participated in the Olympics in 2000, then in 2004. It was only in 2008 that you got a taste of success. How did you keep yourself motivated throughout the journey, and how did you sail through the pressure that came with it?
I think that's a wonderful question, and thank you very much for your very kind words. I think it is about really focusing on the process. Of course, I was looking for outcomes, and I was looking to win a gold medal, and along the way, I had that failure and many failures along the way. But what always kept me going and what always kept me motivated was the fact that I really loved what I did. So even when I had failure and when I was disappointed and when I wanted to give up on many occasions, and there were many occasions where I felt that emotion of giving up, just the love for the process, the love for my sport, the passion for what I did was far greater, and it always got me back for more. And that is, I think, most important thing which helped me along the difficult stuff. So to all you kids, I think you must learn a lesson from this and really invest a lot of time and energy in finding your true passion. Because if you find your true passion, you will not treat whatever you do in life as a job. You will be passionate about it forever. You will love what you do. You will love the process of what you do. And to achieve excellence in life and to achieve excellence in whatever you do, it is really about being focused on the process, and doing the boring and the mundane well. Sometimes life and success is all about finding motivation, as you rightly said, in many boring things which happen on a day-to-day basis, the mundane world. But if you love it, if you love the process of what you do, if you're really passionate about what you're doing, you will be able to get through this. That is what I was able to do, to get through the difficult moments, because I was very passionate about what I did. So really invest your time and energy in finding your passion.
Thank you so much. I mean, we always think about passion, but one thing you highlighted was process. So what generally happens is that people are passionate about something, they will start doing it, and when you get into the process of that mundane, repeatedly doing the same thing again and again, you feel demotivated and you drop out of it. So I think that understanding the importance of process is very important for the kids nowadays, because we always want something that really excites us. They use the word kick. It's not giving us that kick. So we need to understand the significance of the process, which is what you've highlighted.
Yeah.
And now, because we're thinking about the career, so how to choose it. Another question.
Hi, sir. Hope you are doing well. You are not only an inspiration to me, but to the 1.3 billion Indians who watched you win the gold at the 2008 Olympics. My name is Arnav Verma, studying in the Heritage School, Rohini. I wanted to ask you that at times we are not sure what we want to do when we grow up. We have many options in mind, but cannot choose one. Did you also face this dilemma? If yes, then how did you overcome it? How did you make your final choice?
Again, a wonderful question and a difficult question. I think all difficult questions are good questions. No easy answer to this, but I'd like to answer it in a way. I set certain goals for my life, right? As a very young boy, I set a goal that I wanted to win a gold medal at the Olympic Games. This was as a 14-year-old kid, and it was a very ambitious goal to have. It was a very lofty goal to have, which required years and years of effort, years and years of time. And frankly, there was absolutely no guarantee that I was going to achieve this goal. What remained very true through this process of 22 years in my sports career was honesty. Honesty to effort, but also honesty to the goal. Very often, we all tend to set goals, and when failure comes along or some challenges come along, we get demotivated, and then we move to another goal. While I can't answer your question directly, I would only encourage you to remain very honest to your passion, remain very honest to that. And when you remain honest to your goals, you will find that you will be able to persist and persevere with the goals that you set along. And that will probably maximize your chances of achieving. But of course, firstly, invest the time and the passion, invest the time and effort in finding your truest passion. And once you know what you want, then you have to stick with it. Then you have to go all in.
So thank you. It's very important to find a passion. That what thing is driving you so passionately. So there's a difference between liking something and having passion for something. I think that is what we need to discriminate between and find out. So now, because we're talking about these career choices, I want to ask that generally Indian parents are more inclined towards academics than sports. Generally it happens that parents will give a lot of importance to you should study. It has happened in our childhood also that they will cut a sports period or you will not go out to play. So what do you think? How important are sports in a child's life? So, and what values do they add?
I think it is critically important today's day and age, especially that kids play sport. I believe education is absolutely important, but you have to encourage children to just play sport, to imbibe the values of sport. I already talked about what sport teaches you. It teaches you how to win, it teaches you how to lose, it teaches you hard work, it teaches you resilience, it teaches you honesty, it teaches you determination, it teaches you how to focus, how to listen to others, how to listen to different points of view. And there's no other activity in the world, I believe, that will imbibe so many values which will remain true to you for the rest of your life in whatever you do. I give you the example, like there are a lot of great economies in the world. And, as a country, we are too working and striving towards achieving more economic superiority and success. But all the great superpowers, economic superpowers of the world also happen to be great sporting superpowers. And I believe that this has not happened by accident. And I believe that because all these people, when they were kids, played sport, they imbibed these values. They learned how to be determined. They learned how to chase goals, which led them to achieve great things in life in whatever they did. So I think even while parents and even children or young adults may be after professional success, I would only encourage you to just play sport for the sheer joy of playing sport. Whether you make sport a career or not, that is something else. And that anyway, a very small number will attempt to do. But even if you don't become a professional athlete or go to the Olympic Games, please play sport for the sheer joy of playing sport, for imbibing the health benefits that sport will bring you. And of course, to imbibe all these incredible values that sport will teach you, that sport will make you experience to become the best that you can be in whatever chosen field that you pursue.
So I think it's high time as a society that we just, make that shift and we understand the innumerable benefits sports can have. I mean, it goes beyond the sport itself. I think it is more about values. And we know that, understanding the value of this, sports in individuals' life, we've started an NGO also, Abhinav Bindra Foundation, just a year after winning the gold medal at the Olympics. So can you please tell us a little more about the vision of this NGO?
The Abhinav Bindra Foundation is my primary outreach to Indian sport. I received so much in my life, and that I feel it my duty to also give back to larger society. We have three pillars that we work on. The first one being of intervention, where we have set up 6 performance centers across the country, and we give out a scholarship program to very young athletes between the age of 11 and 15. Called the STEAM Scholarship Program, where we imbibe science, technology, engineering, analytics, and medicine into all training, supplement their training with all these various elements, because I believe science is something which we really need to imbibe and leverage on much more if we want to succeed and match our aspirations in sport going forward. The second project under intervention is a program for the female athlete. It's called Sports for Her, where we encourage young girls to take sport and we mentor them and help them with whatever needs that they will have along their journey. The second pillar of our work is education, where we are working on not just helping athletes, but really helping the larger ecosystem that surrounds an Indian athlete. So we started a sports medicine and research institute where we give a bachelor's and master's degrees to start off with in sports science and physiotherapy to start with. Another project that we're doing under education is leadership and governance. So we are working with the University of Loughborough to help administrators in India incorporate global practices when it comes to leadership in sport and when it comes to running sport in the country. The third element of what we do is athlete mental health, a very stigmatized subject, but something I'm very passionate about myself, that we must create environments which are psychologically safe for our athletes to compete and train in. The third pillar of what we do is using the power of sport for societal good, where we leverage on the power of sport. We did a program for refugee athletes to start off with, and two of our refugees actually became athletes, and two of them competed at the Tokyo Olympic Games. So it was a wonderful project because the only identity these two human beings for most of their lives had was being called a refugee. And today, two of them call themselves Olympians. So it had a very significant impact in their lives. We're also using the power of sport to imbibe values in young people. So, I've been talking about this throughout the discourse of today, and trying to set programs up which can also go to young audiences such as yours on what you can learn from sport, what sport has to offer you in your progression in life. And that's something I'm very passionate about, and that's something which we're working hard towards.
I think the list was endless, and it is commendable the kind of work the foundation is doing. It's very widespread. So even a lot of schools are watching it right now. Students are watching this webinar right now. So I want to know if they want to connect and if they want to associate with your foundation, what could be done? What can schools do? What can students do who aspire to be sports people?
Yeah, reach out to us, and we'll see where we can fit in. Of course, if it is something with institutions, if it's something with schools, we'll be happy to start a dialogue on what we can do in terms of value education programs, how sport can play a more meaningful role in the classroom, for example, and of course playing sport, but also imbibing the values of respect, of friendship, of excellence. These are the core Olympic values. And how does one, these values can be imbibed? You do not need to follow the principles of Olympism. Anybody can follow those principles. You don't need to be an Olympian to follow the principles of Olympism. So that is what I'd like to really take to young audiences and to schools, and I would be happy to find ways to collaborate.
Yes, I think there would be a lot of opportunities, especially the Olympic values education program that you're talking about. I think that would be the initiative that we can start associating with the schools. So it's more so about knowing about the values and sports and bringing it together. And I think it's the right time to start this initiative.
Yes, absolutely. I think for one example I give you, we've all been shut down in our homes, and young kids have all of them have been locked in their home, sitting in front of their computers and trying to do this online schooling, and so difficult for them. And I think one of the greatest things that they've missed out in the last couple of years is the camaraderie that they had with friends, the friendships that they were able to forge in the classroom or in school, or how they learned solidarity, the importance of solidarity, to be there for each other in good times and bad. And frankly, there's no better way than sport to help you along the way, to imbibe these values. And now that kids slowly but surely will make their way back in school after this long school period of the pandemic, schools are slowly opening up, not completely as yet. I believe kids have forgotten how to go to school a little bit and forgotten these important elements. And that's where I believe the power of sport can really play a very meaningful role going forward.
Yes, I completely agree to that. I think we should start thinking about it. So now, we have some, questions from very young learners. So they have very cute questions for you.
Namaste, sir. My name is Vedanshi, and I am from 2nd grade from Shriram School, Aravali. My question to you is, are the bullets in the shooting events real?
Very good question. Shooting has 15 different events. And the event that I shot was the one of an air rifle. So my bullets were not real. They were like just same type of bullets you use in a fair, where you shoot the balloons with an air gun. But there are certain events in shooting where the bullets are also real. So, there's an event which is the 50-meter event where we use a .22 caliber bullet, and then there are shotgun events where a shotgun cartridge is used. So different events have different rules, but the event which I shot did not have a real bullet.
Thank you for such an interesting question. So we have more of them coming up.
Hello, my name is Araf. I studied grade 2. Is gold medal really made of gold?
An Olympic gold medal only carries 6 grams of gold. The rest, the base material is silver, but it's only 6 grams of gold. But, it's much more than that. It's the lifetime of effort and a lifetime of dedication. It's a lifetime of blood, sweat, and tears. And it is an incredible feeling to stand on top of an Olympic podium.
Yes, that's true. It's more like beyond that, the material that's being used. So just the last question.
Hello sir, my name is Vardhan Pandey. I am in grade 5. Today I wanted to ask you, how was your gun more different than the guns used in the army? Is it more accurate? Thank you.
Again, a wonderful question. Definitely more accurate. An army gun is meant for warfare, right? It's for war. What we use in sport is a sporting gun. So our equipment is almost useless for army. It's not built for that. This is meant for sport. Definitely much more technology, much more accuracy than that is used in war or in the arms which are used by the army or police. So much more accuracy. It's very, very sophisticated piece of equipment. It's almost like a Formula One car, which is really at the edge of technological development and fine tuning and just how much care is needed to get going at the highest level. So it's a very, very sophisticated piece of equipment and definitely much more accurate.
Thank you for these questions. I think even I was not so aware of all these things and all these facts. So that was very interesting to know all of this. So right now we are having thousands of students who are there for the seminar. So what is the message that you would like to give to our young generation?
Well, I'd firstly like to wish you really all the best in your journey. Be honest to your goals, persevere, work hard, invest in the relationships that your journey will bring you. The relationships which tease you, which confuse you, which question you at times. At times you'll realize that will end up being the most valuable relationships that you'll ever be able to build. So be a good listener as well. Always have respect for each other. Be there in good times and bad for each other. Build friendships and follow a path of excellence. These are Olympic values. If you believe you're able to imbibe these values, you will succeed in whatever you do.
I think there couldn't have been a better closure to this webinar. The words that you've ended with, so the words of wisdom, that if we can follow them, we can achieve anything in our life. So thank you so much, Mr. Bindra, for being there with us. It was a pleasure to have you for this webinar. Thank you so much for inspiring the students and helping them believe in the power of their dreams and in the power of values. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.